Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and we are now 3 days into this September heatwave with temperatures widely into the low 30s now. We are just about hitting the peak temperatures of this heatwave, which are coming today and over the next few days. Pretty much the models are agreement that the next 3 or 4 days have got pretty much the exact same top temperature on the model output around the 32 degree mark, and one of these days will probably maybe even nudge 33 or even 34. So we are at the beginning of the hottest spell of this early September heatwave now. And in this video we'll run through what we're seeing on the latest from the live radar. We'll go through the latest net weather observations for temperatures. We have eclipse temperatures that we saw both on Monday and yesterday as these temperatures ramp up into the low 30s, and then we'll have a look at the latest UKV, having a look at the precipitation and the temperature, because of course we'll have a look at those temperatures over the next 5 days, as we still have at least 3 days of widespread heat before we get in towards Sunday, where there is the risk of it starting to cool down a little bit in the west. Still hot 30 degrees in the east, but not widespread as it's been earlier in the week, and also the risk of thunderstorms starts to arrive. And we'll start to have a little bit more of a detailed look in the breakdown of this major heat wave, as it could be really quite lively in some locations. We'll also have a look at the longer range, as unfortunately if you have enjoyed this heat and hoping for it to continue more into September, the latest output is indicating much more unsettled and maybe even stormy middle parts of September. There could be returning periods of higher pressure, but the latest runs at the moment have a westerly flow moving back in with lots of low pressure dominance. So flipping really on what we have at the moment. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure you like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. So you start on the live radar on this round 4:30, and you can see very minimal precipitation around at the moment, a few showers off the coast of Northern Ireland, and maybe a couple across northern France, but generally a very hot and dry air mass at the moment. However, it's very humid and energy-filled atmosphere. We just don't have a trigger because we are under higher pressure. But over the coming hours, through this evening into Thursday, there is the risk of a few heavy thunder showers breaking out across the Irish Sea, maybe Wales, southwest England, parts of eastern Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, maybe into Scotland as well. If you have been watching the last couple of days of videos, we have seen on the UKV there have been a few small locations where we've seen some explosions of thunderstorms on the model. But we're not seeing a lot of agreement with it because there is a lot of uncertainty, because the trigger, it is very unsure whether we're actually going to see a trigger occur. But there's still the potential over the next couple of days, but nothing concrete. So that's something we need to keep an eye out for, but we'll of course have a look at what the latest UKV is showing for that in a minute. And of course that risk does increase substantially into the weekend, start of next week. Now, as I said, it's 4:30, so the peak temperatures are now just about passing, and we're coming down to the other side, down towards probably a 20 degrees, probably a tropical night tonight in some places. But you can see still extremely hot across much of England and Wales. These dark reds indicating temperatures getting up towards the high 20s, if not touching the low 30s in these real darker patches. Of course, if you're looking at the pinks down across parts of northern France, we'd be looking into the mid-30s or even high 30s. Not something we're going to be looking at for this heat wave because it is early September. But widespread heat, even getting up towards northern Scotland, where do you expect those temperatures to start to be slowly descending towards winter, with September temperatures in Scotland can be as cold as sort of the high single digits or low teens, but no, we're looking at mid-20s here. Now, if you go over to net weather, we're able to see the latest observations. Now, I must remember, these are not all the weather stations. These are just the ones that are released on net weather. So there can be official temperatures from the Met Office later this evening that they'll publish, showing the top temperature of the day. And as we saw on Monday, we just about eclipsed 30 degrees at 30.2, but only on net weather we only saw sort of a 29.5 degree. The same yesterday, we saw a couple of weather stations get towards 30 degrees, and officially we got slightly higher than that. And today we're seeing even more stations get up towards 30, now even One's getting up towards the 31, and you can see here North Dole by 4 p.m. 31.6 degrees, so a rounded 32. Pretty much what we expected today. Most of the models had around 30, 31 degrees, and as I said, they're normally just underdoing it slightly by half a degree or degree, and that's why I said probably today the max temperature is 32 or 33. And you see we've got a rounded 32, and perhaps we could see an official 32 or 33 later on from the Met Office sort of Twitter page and social medias, so do watch out for that. But you can see again the temperatures have widely ramped up, and again seeing more low 30s today, and that will probably continue, and we're sort of going to see quite a good 3 or 4 day peak here starting today. All the way through to Saturday, where again we could see widely 31, 32, and maybe even touching 33 or 34. The other big thing with this is the dew points. The max dew points today you can see are ridiculously high. Again, I would discount this 27, that is insane, I do think that's a bit of a recording error, but 19 or 20, 21 degrees is quite likely and very possible, and that's what the UKV is indicating in a few locations, indicating very humid air mass, making it feel extremely sticky out there, and yeah, not particularly pleasant in places, and will probably be quite difficult sleeping. The last couple of nights haven't been too bad, as hot air is only getting itself established, with the overnight temperatures down towards the mid-teens, but the next couple of nights, now we're in the midst of this heat wave, could be worse, with the overnight temperatures in city centres likely not dropping below 20 degrees. Now, if you go over to the UKV and have a look at the precipitation and the temperature over the next 5 days, you can see the risk through this evening of a few thundery showers breaking out across the Irish Sea. The UKV not making too much of it through this evening. Elsewhere, a couple showers maybe to the west of Scotland, and again maybe some more showers across the Irish Sea tomorrow afternoon, but widely another very dry day, a very hot day, maybe a bit more cloud around, and maybe, as I said, a few dotted showers, but still temperatures in that eastern corner, we've got the biggest sunshine amount, likely again into the low 30s. There is a bit of a pattern that we could see a slight retreat of the hot air tomorrow, and that's why temperatures in the west might not be as high, but that hot air is going to return. Again, it's only moving by maybe 50 or 100 miles, but it will make maybe a degree or two hit to the temperatures in the west, down towards the high 20s instead of the low 30s. That hot air will push back in for Friday and Saturday. As we do move into Friday, again, there is the risk of a few showers in places. Once again, Friday looks on another insanely hot day. Lots of high-level cloud, lots of humidity around, making it feel really quite stuffy out there. Again, 30 to 32 degrees, the top temperature. Again, as I said, locally could see a 33 or 34. Finally, into Saturday, another very hot day, but look to our north and our west. More heavy and thundery showers starting to break out, indicating the breakdown of this heat wave is incoming. Now, as we move into Sunday, you can see a lot more activity in terms of thunderstorms overnight and quite widely perhaps in northern and western areas through Sunday afternoon. Again, I wouldn't play these precipitation charts too literally because it is very convection based, so it is likely to shift quite a bit in this sort of 5 day time frame. But you can see where the transition's coming in the north and the west through Sunday afternoon. The south and the east still likely to hang on to 30 degrees, but I don't think Sunday's going to be a widespread hot and dry day. Still probably be muggy even in the areas that see the showers, but probably won't be quite as hot. And you finally see quite a few thunderstorms and a bit more of a weather front moving there through early hours of Monday, showing the proper boundary between the hot, humid air and the cooler air. And you can see that on the HPA temperatures, still 15, 16 degrees in the southeast, so could probably still nudge 30 degrees on Monday afternoon, but look at the north and the west by 3 a.m. Much fresher Atlantic air moving in. So again, probably Sunday, maybe 50-50, whether it's going to be a widespread hot day or a bit more of a transitional day, but Monday definitely looks like a transitional day where the east and the south could still be very hot, but northern and western areas back into the fresher air. You see the insane heat we've got at the moment into the south and the east, and as I said, tomorrow there is the risk of a little bit of it retreating. You can see a bit more 15, 16, 17 degrees there across the Midlands, and that's why it's not going to be quite as hot, because you see the hot air still to our east, and it's going to move back in places, back up sort of 17, 18 degrees for Friday. And Saturday we start to see a little bit of a retreat in from the north and the west of that heat, but because it's so established now, the surface temperatures are still going to rise exceptionally high. The dew points are extremely high. This is just Saturday afternoon as a snapshot. looking at high teens or low 20s, making it feel extremely muggy and very difficult for sleeping. If you look at the all-important 2-metre max temperatures, you can see this afternoon, the UKV forecasting widely 26 to 29 degrees, really locally only 30, 31 in the southeast. We've seen a little bit hotter than that quite widely, as we saw in the net weather. The top 25 all 29 degrees and above. So again, UKV maybe a degree and a half below what we're seeing in reality. So we always have to take that into account when we're looking at the next few days as well. Now, if you look at Thursday, overnight temperatures, look at that, maybe 19, 20 degrees in quite a few areas, especially in the south, southeast and southwest. Really muggy night, difficult sleeping there. And then as we head into Thursday, bit more of a widespread 30, 31 than today, but again, mainly in the east and the south, maybe the northwest just nudging 28 or 29, but as I said, we have to think about that 1.5 degree difference that we've seen today in the observed temperatures, so maybe, again, looking at more widely 30, 31, a local 32 or 33. And finally, as we head into Saturday, you can see, look at those temperatures rising even higher, up towards that 30 to 32 degrees quite widely. Insane heat, and you can see even spreading up towards Yorkshire, the northwest, as that hot air really does dominate. And again, this is the day where we could see the peak temperatures, maybe 33, 34. We didn't think Saturday was going to be the peak earlier on this week, but it has started to look like the peak because that hot air is not diminishing as quickly as we thought, i.e. the 20-degree isoform is hanging around a little bit longer than we thought, and it's because we've had many days for the ground to heat up and for the surface temperatures to heat up as well, meaning that sort of base we get at sort of 7, 8 a.m. as the sun is rising is going to be about 20 to 22 degrees, so it's going to take not too long to get us to these higher temperatures. So Saturday could be an insanely hot day and a widely insanely hot day for early September. Finally, into Sunday, as I said, we will start to see those temperatures get swept away from the north and the west, down towards the high teens across the far north and west, but many areas still in the low to mid-20s, higher 20s the further south and eastward you go, and maybe across East Anglia and the southeast, London could see 30, maybe 31 again. And as we head finally into Monday, you'll be able to see that it's still very warm in the south and east. Can't look at the 3 p.m. temperatures yet, but it's likely once again to be seeing maybe just about 30 degrees in the far south and east. But most areas are transitioning to cooler conditions. That sweep through colder air that does sweep through, it is going to make it feel remarkably cooler as we head through Monday into Tuesday. And I think many people will appreciate it with much fresher air moving back in. Now, if you look at the longer range now, start on the GFS, you'll be able to see the insanely hot air we have over us at the moment. This big pocket of heat that's been pushed up from the south and is now just milling around under this high pressure system. You see, as we head towards the crunch time, towards Sunday, Monday, you can see just about on Monday afternoon, we're holding on to that heat in the far southeast, but across northern areas, it has reduced. Into Tuesday, still actually shows just a little pocket of heat in the far southeast and eastern England there. So GFS indicating maybe even Tuesday could still hang on to some hotter air in the east. So that cold front does move in, but stalls a little bit as we do progress through Monday into Tuesday. But by Wednesday, all areas are into the fresher air, and into Thursday, 0-degree isoform moves through for some northern areas. So almost a 20-degree temperature drop at 850 HP, a remarkable temperature drop that. And as I said, there could be some big thunderstorms around with that, but as we saw from the UKV, it is very uncertain. It only gets to the early Monday morning point at this stage. Longer term, though, as I said at the start of the video, it's not looking particularly positive if you want more drier and warmer weather. We've got the heat on the eastern side of this low, and we've got some bitterly cold air coming in from the Arctic on the western side of this low. And this is inevitable this time of year. We are descending through autumn into winter, and it just spins up these lows and keeps us really unsettled in the longer term. You see the 500 HPA potential heights here, and you can see, look at that, loads of low pressure around, meaning it's to be very unsettled. Look at the accumulated precipitation here. We're actually seeing an insane amount of rainfall in the next couple of weeks, but very little of that rainfall falling before Sunday, where before a few showers could fall, and then the main bulk of that rain is from Tuesday, Wednesday onwards, where it does start to accumulate massively through the middle period of the month as westerly winds push in. So could be a big switch up towards fresher and very unsettled westerly winds. Again, it is long range, so we will have to put a bit of a caveat there, because it is still quite a distance away, could still change, but we have got reasonably good consensus across the models for this. If we look at the GM, again, we got that big heat in the south, coming up from the south. We put the upper air temperatures on, you can see that heat hangs on all the way through Saturday. Sunday, definitely in the east, but by Monday, you can see still maybe just about in eastern England, but by Monday evening, getting flushed away, and by Tuesday lunchtime, most areas are below the 10-degree isotherm, so could still just about nudge a mid-20 in the east, but we're most likely looking at back into the low 20s or high teens, and eventually maybe even towards the mid-teens by the latter part of next week, as much fresher air moves in from the west. And as I said, very similar to the GFS, with big low pressure systems with a very strong Atlantic flow and a very strong jet stream coming in off the west. Look at that direct jet stream coming in from the west, keeping us very unsettled. Now finally, for the longer range runs, if we look at the ECMWF, again you can see the very hot air across much of the UK at the moment, slowly getting pushed away into the weekend, hanging on through Sunday. Monday, maybe just about in the east, the 15-degree isotherm holds on, but as we progress in towards Tuesday, it is going to be getting swept away by Tuesday lunchtime. Look at that, very similar to the GM, where the 10-degree isotherm just about off Kent, across the, gone off the Kent coastal area there, so likely to maybe see mid-20s at best, but more likely low 20s, back into the mid-teens in places, and again, very similar to the other runs, with low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. A bit more high pressure out in the North Atlantic here than the other two runs are showing, but it's still a broadly westerly flow, and the jet stream once again is broadly coming in from a west or northwesterly direction, meaning a reasonably unsettled and cool outlook. If we finish by looking at the ensembles, you can see we are at the peak of upper air temperatures now, and it's going to last over the next 4 days. For by Sunday, Monday time, it starts to slowly drop, and by around the 12th or 13th, so around next Tuesday, towards Wednesday time, we are all back towards generally average temperatures. Again, this is London, this is the southeast, so it's always going to hold on to that heat a little bit longer than areas further northwards and westwards, but should only hold on for maybe a day, maybe 36 hours longer. Generally in the longer range, you see the upper air temperatures are generally around average, but with plenty of precipitation. Do you want to compare to Glasgow? You can see it is still very warm in Glasgow, but that drop comes around on the 11th of September. And of course, it's not as remarkably hot, with the hotter air more exclusively in the south. Still 10 degrees above average, just not getting towards that 20-degree isotherm we're seeing in the south. But that drop, as I said, comes by sort of Saturday, Sunday time, instead of the Monday, Tuesday time like it does in the southeast. And again, generally average upper air temperatures and plenty of precipitation. Now, if we look at the 2 metre temperatures for London, again, very hot over the next 4 days at least, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, still some runs into the high 20s here, but by Tuesday, most are towards the low or mid to low 20s, and back towards around the 20-degree range in the longer term. Dew points, again, very warm, very humid over the next 5 days or so, around that 15-degree mark, maybe higher locally, and again, these are low resolution, so it's not always going to pick up on slight regional differences. And finally, the ECMWF ensembles agree. Peak temperatures lasting to around the 11th, 12th, before we see that drop off next week back towards average with plenty of unsettled conditions. So you can see from the latest runs, the heatwave is going to be continuing widely for the next 3 days, all the way to Saturday, Sunday, still likely to be very hot for much of England and Wales, but Northern Ireland, Scotland, Republic of Ireland could start to see some precipitation and some cooler air nudging in through Sunday, and then Monday looks like the main transition day, with the east could still be pretty hot, but the west is starting to cool down, and by Tuesday the majority of areas should be in some fresh air, could still have some legacy warmth in the south and the east, but maybe only the mid-20s by that point. The real heat probably ending by Sunday or Monday at the latest. But unfortunately, in the longer range, if you do enjoy hotter weather, do cherish the next few days, as does look likely through the middle part of September we're going to see much more westerly based pattern appearing. There is still the risk of high pressure returning. Seeing this pattern return is a possibility, but we're just not seeing it at this stage, and definitely looks likely we'll see some sort of a westerly phase for at least a few days or longer. as we do progress through September. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed. Make sure you stay safe out there over the next few days. Stay hydrated and look after loved ones and neighbours, of course, and people who are fragile, because it is still very hot, even though it isn't July. It's not a high 30s or 40-degree temperatures like we saw last summer. It is still hot. It is still very humid. It is still putting a bit more strain on the body than average temperatures would. So do make sure you do take care out there. And of course, we'll see you again for another video soon. Hopefully, we'll have a better update on what those exact top temperatures will be. Will we break that 33 or even 34 degree mark? So as I said, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.